Hey guys, this is Steve Huff from SteveHuffPhoto.com. I'm here today with the brand new Leica, which is the Leica CL Digital. This is brand new, and I'm happy to say that Leica has stuck to their roots with this CL. For years, there have been many asking for a camera just like this. While some of the wish lists were an M mount with a small body, Leica has come close. This is a TL mount, so it will take T lenses, SL lenses. You can adapt M lenses or R lenses onto the CL. And think of it as like a Leica TL2, but in a more traditional body. And I would say even faster and more responsive, because for me, the TL2, it was really cool. It was more like an Apple, what you would think if Apple designed a camera. The CL is small. It's about the size of the X2, but you have a gorgeous built-in viewfinder. You have your dual control dials up top. So these two dials, you can control your aperture, your shutter speed, your ISO, all by turning and pushing a button. Leica kept the simplicity here. So being so simple and so easy to use right out of the box, you don't have to dig into the menus. You don't have to, go crazy with your brain trying to figure out what controls mean what. Here, everything you need to know about the camera is externally. It's outside here. So you have everything you need to control every setting of the camera, basically without going into the menu. The battery is down here, and it actually uses the Leica Q battery right here. So you get a nice, decent battery that closes up. You have your SD card also down below. It only has a single SD card slot, so you're not getting the dual slots that are so popular today. But this is not a pro high-speed camera. This camera is actually meant for everyday use, something that you would use something like an M with. So I had tested this with a couple of M mount Voigtlander lenses, and it was an absolute dream to use because I can put the camera to my face, look through the viewfinder, and turn this dial here to magnify the focus so I can get critical pinpoint focus. On the back, there's only 3 buttons: play, an FM button, and a menu button that you use to browse the minimalistic menus. Now, this does not have the menu system of the TL. It keeps the menu system of something like the Q and the latest M, though it's still very simple. The lens I have attached is the 18mm f2.8, which is the brand new lens from Leica. It comes in at around $1,300. It comes in black or silver. So this is an APS-C sensor. So you're getting a pretty good wide angle in the 18, but you are limited to f2.8 aperture. But this thing must weigh, what, 3 ounces? It's very light. It's almost like, it looks like a Panasonic 20 f1.7 that they have on Micro Four Thirds. But this is an 18-2.8 for $1,300. But if you wanted to keep it small, compact, this is the lens to get. It's almost the size of a pancake lens. Image quality wise, it's going to give you the same character as the TL2, as the Leica Q, those same colors with those gorgeous reds, that crisp rendering. There is a unique signature with Leica cameras, whether you want to admit it or not, there just is. Files from this will look different than my Sony, which will look different from a Fuji, which will look different from an Olympus. So that's where one should determine whether they want to buy something like this. Do you like that image quality, that unique color rendering? Do you like the fact that it's small and basic? It's built for photographers. This does have video, but it's so hidden. And like it even said, this is not meant to be a video camera. It's a photo camera. Though they do have video in there, it's an afterthought, and I wouldn't use it for anything special. The top does have a little display that glows as soon as it gets dark out, so you can see your major settings like aperture, shutter speed, exposure compensation, and whatnot. So the viewfinder is really nice and clear and large, though in low light, if you get into really dark scenes, it can get a little laggy like some of the older EVFs used to do. But if you're in daylight, it's crisp, it's fast, and the eye detection on this is remarkable. If I put my eye up to it, it's like almost instantaneous. So I'll take a picture, and AF is fast as well. Oh, Debbie's over there. See, I'll take a picture of Debbie. You don't see her, she's off camera. But we're at a park in Phoenix, in Glendale, I think, or Peoria. It goes by Peacock Park. That's the nickname for it because there's sometimes a lot of peacocks, there's chickens, there's pigeons, there's all kinds of little animals that roam around here, and it's a pretty cool place. A lot of wedding photographers come here to shoot. So the Leica CL is going to come in at just under $3 grand for the body only. If you want the 18-2.8, you're looking at around $3,700 for the kit. You can also buy it as a kit with the 18-55 TL lens, which is what I would go for if I was buying a kit. But if I was buying the CL, I would buy the CL and the 35-14 Summilux, which will give you around a 50mm equivalent. And that lens is one of the only 2 lenses for the TL mount made in Germany. It's a quality lens. It's superb, and it will give you an f1.4 aperture. As for low light, this does very good in low light, not up to the standards of my Sony A9 or the A7R III, but very, very good. I'd say it's about equivalent to the Leica M10, Leica TL2 kind of quality. So Leica hit it out of the park with this if you're a Leica fan. Now, people who are buying the latest and greatest Sonys and Fujis, they're not going to understand this camera, but people who love Leica will understand it because it's small, it sticks to their roots, it's about the photographer and the photography, it's simple, the image quality is outstanding. I've had this for about 2 weeks, 2 weeks before the announcement date, and I've really, really enjoyed it. Now, do I enjoy it as much as an M? No. Do I enjoy it as much as my Sony? For photos, even more so, because this is a camera that it's one of those cameras that'll motivate you to take it out and use it. The Sony is beautiful as it is and as functional as it is. I use it when I have a specific purpose because it gets the job done. It has features up the wazoo, where this, you can just concentrate on the task at hand, which is taking photos and photography. The autofocus is fast, though it's not for action, but Leicas never really are. But it's plenty fast, probably one of their fastest, snappiest autofocus cameras to date. The low light is very good. The image quality is outstanding. You get beautiful, beautiful Leica image quality. The only hurdle here is the price. It's a little pricey for what it is. You can buy something like a Sony A7R III for almost the same price, and you're getting so much more tech-wise in the Sony. But again, you're getting so much more soul-wise for your soul with the Leica. So it all depends on what you like to shoot. Street photography, this would be great. All right, let's get to some pictures, guys. This is with the 18 f2.8. This is a rooster who was hanging out in the park we were walking around in. Allowed me to come up close and get a picture of him, and it came out really cool. I like this image, even though it's kind of odd. This next one was shot with a 100mm f2.8 trio plan lens from Meyer Optic, a very unique recreation of a classic lens. This is an M mount, and I used the M to T converter for it while we were in the Coach House bar in Scottsdale, Arizona. As you can see, they go all out for Christmas. Using M lenses on this camera is a dream. It's a treat. It's how I would shoot this camera. When you use it this way, it is indeed like a mini M camera with an EVF. You don't get that rangefinder, but man, you'll never miss focus, that's for sure. So the way I loved to use the CL the most was with Leica M mount lenses. You can focus very easily. It's solid, it's small, it feels great, and it's not going to break the bank like a Leica M would. buy this CL, a couple of M-mount lenses, even vintage lenses, cheaper lenses, Voigtlander, and you have an amazing little manual focus setup. With that said, this was shot with the 18mm f2.8, which is a tiny light lens, almost pancake-like. So if you want the smallest, lightest CL setup, this is the lens you're going to want. This is inside of a dive bar, voted best dive bar in Phoenix quite often, the Bikini Tiki Lounge. We went there one day midday, must have been like 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock, right when they opened. They had a band playing, they were crowded, it was pretty fun, pretty cool. Here's an image of the band. We were in sort of low light, so this is a high ISO image, but you can go to stevehufpphoto.com to download the image and see the EXIF. Here's some video shot on the CL. Once again, this is, I believe, with the 35 f1.7 Voigtlander Ultron. I just wanted to see how the video worked, but as I said before, this is the stills camera for photographers. It's not so much for video, though it does have it. This shot here was with the Voigtlander 50 f1.5 Nocton M-mount. Beautiful, beautiful lens that actually comes close to the 50 Summilux, a different character, does very well in black and white. Here's a shot with a Leica M-mount 35 f1.7 Voigtlander. Notice I'm using M-mount lenses that aren't going to kill your pocketbook, and the results are lovely. This is actually a pretty major crop of the full file. This next shot was 35 f1.7, again wide open on the CL. And I love this shot. This little boy was looking at me like, what are you using? That doesn't look like my mom's phone when she takes my picture. And in the reflection, you can actually see the little girl kind of checking out what I'm doing as well. We were looking at the orangutans. This is a black and white conversion. It's just a quick and dirty of a JPEG. Basically, I just lowered the saturation slider of the JPEG just to see what a contrasty JPEG would look like. This next shot, I did the same thing. It's a shot of one of the orangutans, but if you notice, there's a little bit of a blown highlight there, right where he's looking, like he's saying, hey man, your camera's blowing the highlight. That's one thing you want to be careful about with most Leica cameras. They don't have the crazy dynamic range of a Sony, a Nikon, etc. This shot is with the 35 f1.7 at a local brewery we visited in Phoenix. And this is wide open at the minimum focus distance, so you're getting a lot of blur, but I focused on the little bit of suds in that first beer where the glass is. Again, 35 f1.7 right here, just checking close focus, out of focus background, what have you. Using M-mount lenses on this thing really does make it like a mini M, but with an EVF. This shot was taken in Sedona as I walked out of my hotel room. I was there testing cameras last week, and this is with the CL. The color is beautiful. The color is accurate, just as I saw it with my eyes, so that is always a good thing. Here's a shot, a snapshot. I had the 18mm f2.8. I was pumping gas into my car. Debbie looked up. I snapped it. Because this camera is so quick and responsive, there's literally no lag and no delays when you're taking photos, which is honestly a breath of fresh air with a Leica camera, because a lot of times they're a little slow and laggy, and in the past they've been a little slow and laggy, but this shot is with the 18 f2.8. This is what you can expect depth of field wise, but again, I see a little bit of blown highlights. That is really my only complaint with this camera, that it doesn't have the extensive dynamic range, but I'm used to the A9, the A7R3 now, X1D, cameras like that, so I would not expect that 15 stops of dynamic range from this camera, but you can expect to get about what you would normally get from the TL or the Q, what have you. This shot is ISO 10,000 at night, after our first successful Beers and Camera launch in Phoenix last month. It was dark out. I set it to ISO 10K and shot this. This is a right out of camera JPEG, so the noise is very, very nice and acceptable. This little boy was looking at me wondering what I was holding up to my face. He probably has never seen a real camera because, like I said earlier, with the heavy use of cell phones these days, he was probably wondering what that contraption was. This was shot inside of a restaurant that had a bunch of neon lights, and I wanted to test the color, and I'm never disappointed with Leica color. They have a way of rendering reds and the contrast and the detail. The images just look so wow, and they pop and they jump out at you. And here's one more of that rooster from earlier. I got up closer with the 18 f2.8 and it was a fun time. I have one more here. This is just taking a shot of a goat who had a lovely beard. I wish I had his beard, you know, I have a hard time. But this is with the 35 f1.7 Voigtlander Ultron. Again, beautiful lens, minimum focus distance, lovely, lovely lens. I loved shooting this lens on the CL as we walked around the zoo that day. What a wonderful experience. This is about as close as you're going to get to a Mini M, small, compact, high image quality. Use any Leica lens just about on this guy, and you have a powerhouse. If you love Leica, you're going to love the CL. So check out the Leica CL. I'll put links below for more information, as well as a link to stevehufphoto.com where I talk much more about the camera. Thanks for watching, guys. If you like this, thumbs up and subscribe. Until next time, this is Steve Huff from stevehufphoto.com. Bye. Okay, so what about startup time? How fast is startup time? So the camera's off. I'm going to turn it on, put it up to my eye, and I already took a picture. So it's very fast. Usually if you turn it on and you're down here, by the time you lift it to your eye, the CL is already ready to shoot. This is near instantaneous. You turn it on, it's ready to roll. So that's a plus with the Leica CL.